Knock, knock. Who's there? You're a nightmare.
Hey Creepaholics crew, get ready to deep dive into the dark and disturbing world of Provo Canyon School, where Paris Hilton and many others face unimaginable horrors. In the spine-chilling episode, we'll uncover the harrowing stories of abuse, secrecy, survival at this notorious institution. From the first camp's opening to its eventual closure and the terrifying experiences of the children who were kidnapped in the middle of the night. Join us as we shed light on the dark sides of these tough love facilities. Lock your doors, grab your flashlights, and tune in for this grappling journey into the flight of justice for the resilience of the survivors. So Provo Canyon School, started in 1971, was supposed to be about therapy, but surprise, it had a super shady side. With different owners over the years, things got really messy. The school's past is full of controversy, and every time management changed, it just added more mystery to the whole mess. Now, the spotlight on Provo Canyon got even brighter when former students spilled the beans, including Paris Hilton. In 2020, Paris went all out on the Netflix documentary Hell Camp, exposing alleged abuse and harsh conditions. It was a total game changer for the troubled teen industry. Now let's dig into the wilderness therapy programs run by Steve Carcino. Back in 1988, he started the Challenger Foundation, claiming to help rebellious teens by teaching them survival skills. But surprise, surprise, former attendees and parents have some crazy stories. The documentary, dropping on December 27th, spills the beans on Carcino's messed up kidnap and survive idea. Former campers spilled the beans, revealing how this program promised rehab but delivered serious trauma. After the dark legacy of Provo Canyon School, things got even spookier with a peek into the Netflix documentary Hell Camp: Teen Nightmare. Paris Hilton takes a stand, sharing the horrors of troubled teen industries. The Challenger Foundation's program kicks off with kids getting kidnapped with parents okay with it, for a 500-mile hike across the Utah desert. The wilderness therapy goes way too far, exposing some messed up truths in the name of reform. The documentary captures the powerful moment, Paris Hilton speaking out in front of Congress, telling how she was treated at Provo Canyon School at just 17. Her words hit hard as she shares, "I was strangled, slapped across the face, watched in the shower by male staff." Let's get into the first troubled teen camp. The first camp of the notorious kind was the Provo Canyon School, established in 1971 in Provo, Utah. The institution claimed to offer help to troubled teens through rigorous discipline and therapeutic practices. However, the facade and care and support lay a much darker reality. Let's get into what happened. Initially, Provo Canyon School gained popularity among the parents, despite for solutions for their difficult teenagers. The school promised structured programs designed to install discipline and respect. However, former teens and whistleblowers have recounted experiences of physical abuse, emotional manipulation, and severe punishments, isolation rooms, forced medication, and psychological restraints, and physical restraints were common tactics used to maintain control over the teens. The breaking point came when multiple reports of abuse and mistreatment surfaced, leading public outcry and scrutiny for authorities. Despite these issues, Provo Canyon School continued operating under various managements until being sold in 2000s to Universal Health Services Incorporated, which claimed to implement new policies and oversight. However, allegations of abuse have persisted even though under new ownership. Let's get into the second troubled teen camp. Following the initial success to Provo Canyon School, the supposed success, similar institutions began popping up across the county. One notable example is Ellen School, established in 1970 in Poland, Maine. Ellen School became famous for the brutal and inhumane methods of behavior modification. What happened there? Well, Ellen School employed extreme methods such as public humiliation, forced fights against students, and prolonged isolation to control and reform its attendees. Survivors share harrowing tales of being pitted against each other in attack therapy sessions where students were encouraged to berate physical abuse on one another. The school's founder, Joe Rishishi, I'm going to say this wrong, Rishishi, I'm sorry guys, claimed these methods were effective, but they left deeper psychological scars on the victims. The school's abuse practices came under intense scrutiny following the death of the student of Philip Williams in 1982 after a ring fight where students were forced to box one another. Despite multiple investigations and lawsuits, Ellen School continued to operate until it finally closed in 2011. Following the relentless pressure from advocate groups and former students, kidnapped in the middle of the night. One of the most traumatic experiences for many teens sent to those camps was the initial abduction. Private transportation services, often referred to as escorts, were hired by parents to forcibly remove their children from their homes, sometimes in the dead of night. These escorts would arrive unannounced, walking the teens from their sleep and talking, and unfortunately taking them away from their parents with absolutely no explanation or chance to say goodbye. They're just gone. Let's go with some of the experiences and noted names of several people who have attended. Number 1, Paris Hilton. One of the most high-profile survivors is Paris Hilton, has been vocal about her experiences at Provo Canyon School. She describes being awakened in the middle of the night by 2 large men who took her from her home and transported her to the facility. Hilton had recounted enduring verbal and physical abuse, forced medication, and long periods in solitary confinement. Number 2, Nick, I'm going to say your last name wrong, I'm sorry, Galia, another survivor, Nick Galia, who attended Ellen School, has shared his traumatic experiences. He describes being constantly humiliated, physically beaten, and forced into stage fights as part of the school's therapy. Galia has become an advocate for reform and has produced documentaries highlighting the abuse in the institutions. Number 3, Jennifer. Her last name will be withheld because I could not find it. Jennifer, who was sent to Provo Canyon School, recalls being dragged out of her bed in the middle of the night by escorts. She was taken to the facility where she was forced harsh punishments, including being locked up in an isolation room for days at a time. Jennifer's story, like many others, highlight the emotional and physiological abuse and the toll of these experiences that they have on young people. Now let's get into the fight for justice. As we brave through this tough story, the podcast sheds light on Paris Hilton's fight for justice. Her words in Hell Camp Teen Nightmare show how survivors are standing strong, shining a light on the dark side of these institutions. Hilton's advocacy has brought attention to the need for legislation change, leading to the efforts of the Breaking Code Silence movement, which seeks to end child abuse in the institution setting. As we conclude this episode, it's clear that these stories from the troubled teen camps are more than just tales of horror. They are calls to action. The resilience of survivors like Paris Hilton and Nick Galia and their determination to expose the truth are paving the way for reform and accountability. If you are one of these teens or people who have attended this camp, I promise you, speak out now. You need to tell your story. You need to heal from your pain. If you or anyone you know has been to one of these camps or forcibly removed from their home in the middle of the night, I suggest you seek help, because there are many other people like you that are going through the same emotional and terrifying traumatic experiences that you are going through now. So as we conclude this episode, I wish everybody a safe and good and hopeful night. And maybe, if we all have a chance, we can make sure that the Breaking Code Silence movement is heard. Until next time, keep those flashlights close, stay on the edge of your seat, and keep creeping it real. Goodbye for now, Creepaholics crew.
Love this podcast? Support this show through the Acast supporter feature. It's up to you how much you give, and there's no regular commitment. Just click the link in the show description to support now.
Knock, knock. Who's there? You're a nightmare.